truck obviously runs and drives now. But I'm just gonna have to go over and show y'all everything I had to do to it. So. Obviously we got the engine transmission in. That's where I left off on part 1 of the video. I put some S10 swap shorty headers on it, heat wrapped them because it's kind of close to everything, especially over here on the driver's side. I have it running on the factory Colorado PCM and the swap PCM. I got a couple of things teed together, so some stuff works, like the speed sensor wiring. The VSS wires are teed together on both of them, so the speedometer works and the mileage works. You can get all the gauges to work if you connect the two Class 2 seal datas together, but the problem with that is anytime you crank the truck or just driving up the driveway and back, it adds mileage. Like cranking the truck's not bad, it adds, you know, 10, 20 miles at a time. But just driving up the driveway and back, it added 1,000 miles to the truck. So I unhooked those serial data wires for now. I'm gonna try and just get this PCM to run the whole truck. I depinned all the wires that are left on that one, or not depinned. I looked up the wiring diagram, saw what all wires were left on that, and there's pins there's pins for this PCM for like the same thing. So I think I can get this one to work the whole truck and just get rid of that. Hopefully, I'm not 100% sure on that, but we're gonna try it. Which is why I had all the wiring looking nice, but then I was messing around trying to figure stuff out. Also, this is an 06 PCM out of Yukon. The other day I tried to swap it to an 03 PCM out of a Yukon, but this obviously runs the 2-pin alternator with the GBCM, and I guess it didn't like that, so I'm gonna have to delete the GBCM, so it means I have to get a new alternator. We're gonna get a 4-pin alternator so it won't freak out and go into reduced power mode. So I put the 06 PCM back in for now. So once I get all of that figured out, if I can do it, I'll make another video on it. But anywho, back to the engine. So I got S10 shorty swap headers on here. They're heat wrapped. I did have to modify this side because I don't know if you see right there, I dented that one right there in, that tube in, because the steering shaft hits it. And then obviously I heat wrapped it because it's so close to all the wiring and brake lines and steering shaft and all that. I got 2010 cooling fans on here off like a 2010 Dodge Charger. This is like a 2010. I had to trim the top right here and then one of the side brackets down there. I had to trim that, got it installed. The harness is I just made the harness for the fans. It's pretty easy. Let's see, what else did I do? So the heater lines, I just got 3/4 and 5/8 hose and ran it over here. This is the hose for the throttle body coolant. I just teed it in right there. I'm gonna get some kind of plastic clip, like hose clip, to install right here so they're not resting against the body right there. Obviously, this is a cold air intake actually that came off of this truck. I bought a new one for that one and I just put this one on. Seems to work pretty good. What else did I do? So it's got, off the headers, it's custom. It's equal length going into behind the transmission, and it goes into an X pipe, and then it goes over into the factory Colorado exhaust. So it still runs the factory Colorado exhaust for now. Let's see if I can get some tees in right there, and y'all can see the X pipe going in. It goes straight up to the headers up there. So I still have the truck oil pan on here, and as y'all can see, it hangs below the frame, like 2.5 inches, something like that. So I'm about to, I mean, I'm not going to be taking this thing off road and whatnot, but just don't hit any potholes or whatever, I guess. So it still works with the key. Still works with the key. But I think my starter's going out, or it's because like this truck, like you just bump it and it starts itself. So I think what it is that PCM doesn't know the engine's running. So sometimes the starter will grind. It'll just keep trying to crank the engine while it's running. So what I'd have to do is when I crank it, I have to give it some gas, and it won't do that. So I don't know if it's the starter is bad, which I know my starter's bad because sometimes it won't start. It'll just keep clicking. Or it's because the PCM doesn't know the truck is actually running. So it's kind of weird though, because like you start it and there's like a 3-second delay, and then it like tries to start again and it starts grinding. So I don't know what's up with that, but anytime I start it, if I rev it, it doesn't do it. So I don't know if it's a starter or a PCM. So that's why I got a new starter, but I'm also going to try and see if I can just get that PCM to run everything, so I don't have all these problems. I do have a check engine light. It's because I don't have the rear O2 sensors hooked up, and I got like a traction control light because I turned that stuff off in the PCM. And what else was it? Oh yeah, the fuel tank pressure sensor. I don't have it hooked up yet either, so that's all right. EVAP. I got EVAP lights too because I don't have, like I said, I don't have any of those wires hooked up yet. I'm gonna get to it eventually, but this truck does run and drive. So once I get all this done and everything works, I'll make another video on it. But that's the truck. I started out with like 147,000 miles. It's at 148.9, and I have not driven it that much. Like I said, it was adding mileage like crazy. So anytime you do this swap, the Colorado PCM is like the obviously like the engine's not in there no more, so it doesn't see, you know, the Colorado throttle body or pedal anymore. So it's gonna have this reduced power light because of the pedal and the throttle body. They're not seeing it. There's nothing you can do about that, I don't think. Now it does still have the factory Colorado pedal down here, but what I did was, this is the factory Colorado plug. Obviously it's not plugged in, but this is the factory pedal. So what I did was I took the Yukon pedal apart and the Colorado pedal apart, and I swapped these sensors and whatnot around. It's very, very hard to do. Well, I wouldn't say it's hard to do, but it's you gotta be very delicate with it because there's wires in there that if you don't be careful, you can fuck up and the whole pedal's trash. So anywho, I swapped that around, and so it's the factory Colorado pedal, but the Yukon sensor and kind of like body. And then obviously this goes through the firewall to the Yukon TAC module, which is right there. So, and it runs pretty good. So, but yeah, once I get all this figured out, I'll make another video.